William Wallace became the face of Scotland's fight for freedom. Not a king, but a determined landowner who inspired a nation. He was born around 1270, likely in Elderslie, to Sir Malcolm Wallace, and grew up educated and trained for combat. Wallace's early life was typical for his class, but the growing English oppression changed his destiny. In 1297, Wallace led a daring attack, killing the English Sheriff of Lanark, a bold act that ignited rebellion. News of his defiance spread, rallying Scots who felt leaderless and oppressed. Wallace's leadership and refusal to submit to English rule made him stand out. He quickly gathered followers from all walks of life, becoming the symbol of a desperate nation. His actions weren't isolated, he was part of a larger movement, but his courage set him apart. Wallace's rise marked the beginning of a new chapter in Scotland's struggle for independence. He became the champion the Scots needed. The legend of William Wallace was born. Scotland's troubles began with the death of King Alexander III in 1286, leaving no clear heir. The young Margaret, Maid of Norway, was chosen as queen, but her death in 1290 plunged the nation into chaos. With no obvious successor, at least 13 nobles claimed the throne, risking civil war. The Scottish lords, desperate for stability, asked England's King Edward I to choose their king. Edward seized the chance, demanding the Scots accept him as overlord before selecting John Balliol as king in 1292. But Edward treated Balliol as a puppet, humiliating the Scots and undermining their independence. Tensions boiled over when the Scots allied with France, England's enemy. Enraged, Edward invaded in 1296, crushing the Scottish army and capturing Balliol. Scotland was left leaderless, occupied, and under direct English rule. The stage was set for rebellion. The people's hope for freedom was fading until new leaders emerged. The crisis would soon give rise to heroes. The fight for Scotland's soul had begun. With Scotland under English control, resistance flared in 1297. William Wallace in the south and Andrew Moray in the north led the charge, rallying Scots to their cause. They joined forces to confront the English at Stirling Bridge, a narrow crossing that would decide Scotland's fate. The English, overconfident, began to cross the bridge in small numbers. Wallace and Moray waited until enough enemy troops were trapped on the Scottish side. Then the Scots charged, overwhelming the disorganized English. The river became a grave for fleeing soldiers. Panic spread. The main English force could only watch as their vanguard was destroyed. The Earl of Surrey fled, and the Scots claimed a shocking victory. Stirling Bridge proved that strategy could defeat superior numbers. Wallace's legend grew, and hope returned to Scotland. The fight for independence was alive. After Stirling Bridge, Wallace and Moray became guardians of Scotland. Moray soon died, leaving Wallace to lead alone. Wallace launched raids into England, but King Edward I returned with a massive army in 1298. Wallace used scorched earth tactics, but the strategy angered Scottish nobles. At Falkirk, the English longbow shattered the Scottish schiltrons. The Scots suffered a crushing defeat. Wallace escaped but lost support. He resigned as guardian, becoming a fugitive. His leadership ended, but his fight continued in the shadows. Wallace's time as Scotland's leader was over. The dream of freedom seemed lost, but his spirit endured. After Falkirk, Wallace became a hunted man, seeking support abroad, but returning to fight as a guerrilla. In 1305, betrayed and captured, he was taken to London and tried for treason. Wallace famously declared he could not be a traitor. He'd never sworn loyalty to Edward. He was brutally executed, but his death only fueled Scottish resistance. Wallace became a martyr, inspiring others to continue the struggle. Within months, Robert the Bruce rose up, learning from Wallace's example. Bruce would lead Scotland to victory at Bannockburn in 1314. Today, Wallace is Scotland's greatest national hero, a symbol of freedom against impossible odds. Monuments honor his sacrifice, and his story inspires generations. The legend of William Wallace endures far beyond his lifetime. He proved that one person's courage can change history. Scotland's fight for freedom lives on in his name.